Regieleki picks up the KO. How often do you see a Regieleki knock out a Miraidon without even terastallizing into some other type? We definitely take those. It's VGC Legends. It's the series where I spin a wheel, get a random legendary Pokemon, build a team on the spot, and try that team out on the Regulation I ladder. It's something that I do because I like legendary Pokemon. It's something that I do because speed building a bunch of teams is fun and maybe also instructive. We'll see. I'm going to make some good teams, going to make some bad teams, done plenty of both already. And it is the series that is currently occupying my go-to 5 p.m. upload slot every day that I don't have something else planned, because there are a lot of legendary Pokemon and there is not a lot of time in what we know of the lifespan of Regulation I. It's also the series where I say every time that even with all the legendaries that have been picked so far, there's not been a single one from the second generation. Every Gen 5 legendary is still just sitting here on the wheel, never yet been picked. Gen 1 is now down to its last one. We've done all 3 birds. There's just Mewtwo left, so I do kind of wonder now whether an entire generation will be finished before Gen 2 is even started. But one way to find out, let's spin the wheel and see what we get. And I bet after I say that, it's going to be neither of those 2 generations. It looks like it's going to go in the big clump of Gens 8 and 9 here. And we're going with Regieleki. Alright, I almost put Regieleki on my team a couple of videos ago, and then I removed it last minute. But definitely going to be building with it this time. Let's see what happens. Alright, Regieleki is a pretty simple Pokemon, especially now that Dynamax doesn't exist anymore. With Dynamax in Gen 8, you actually could do a few different things with it. You could run Acrobatics, Max Airstream to speed up teammates. And that's a form of speed control because Regieleki is going to move before everything else, barring priority and an opponent's Tailwind or Trick Room or what have you. There were some because of that physical Regieleki was more common then than it probably is now. And you also could run... Looks like it doesn't get it anymore, but I think Regieleki got Assurance in Sword and Shield. And you could run that, Dynamax your Regieleki, and click Max Darkness. Is that what the max move was called? To lower opponent's special defense to create openings for your own special attackers. I think Regieleki is a little bit more straightforward in how it plays now. And it's also a little bit weaker because Transistor, the ability that powers up its electric type attacks, got a nerf in Scarlet and Violet. It was stronger in Sword and Shield, it's not quite as strong anymore. You can see Regidrago has the corresponding ability Dragon's Maw, still a 1.5 boost. Regieleki Transistor used to be 1.5, this generation it's 1.3. But fastest Pokemon in the game. Still gets a bit of a boost on its electric type attacks, doesn't get a whole lot of other coverage. When Regieleki was first made available in Scarlet and Violet, some people thought that it would be kind of a menace with Ice Terra Blast, complementing its electric coverage, but it just doesn't really hit hard enough for that set to have ever taken off. But it can still work well as fast support, it can set screens. It has Electro Web as a form of speed control. It has Explosion. You could maybe do some kind of Explosion setup, but again, it just doesn't hit terribly hard. It gets Eerie Impulse. So there are a few support options for this Pokemon. The set that I was very close to using in an earlier video was a little bit disjointed. It was dual screens, Electro Web, but then I also wanted Thunder because I was running Rain. But I think a simpler dual screens Electro Web kind of set could be beneficial. Maybe to some kind of setup team. I do have an idea for that, but before I talk about it, I should also acknowledge Regieleki's signature move, Thunder Cage. You can see 80 power, 90 accuracy. It's like a Fire Spin clone kind of, but way stronger. There are some uses for that, but it's not super splashable. I don't know whether we'll be using it here. So I was thinking actually about Regieleki early in Regulation I on a team with like Ice Rider, Calyrex, Kyogre, can't remember what else now. Landorus, I think. Basically, early on in the format, I was very interested in Ice Rider Miraidon teams, and maybe Landorus as a third partner to complement their coverage even more. And I can't remember exactly how I got onto this, but I thought maybe if I could change one of the restricted Pokemon to a Kyogre, then Landorus could benefit, and then I still want a fast electric type, and it's Regieleki. That probably then suggests some more offensive Regieleki than I was just talking about, although I could do screens with like a Calm Mind Kyogre, but this is the basic concept in my head right now. I'm going to check our usual resources, Friends of the Series, Top Cut Explorer first, and then Munch Stats. I don't know if Regieleki will show up in any of these recent tournaments, but I don't know that it won't, so might as well take a look. If it does, it'll be pretty low down the list. It's not at 1 use. I don't think it would be much more than that. So I think we're just not going to find it at Bologna. I'll check Utrecht as well, even though that's a while ago now. Receive Regigigas, but I don't see Regieleki. Alright, but I think it will show up on Munch Stats. I'm sure it gets enough usage for that. See, Regidrago's used more. 0.3% usage. That is significantly higher than either form of Moltres. So that's something. Common restricted partners, Zamazent. Well, Zamazent is the most used, but there's no one majority restricted partner for it. Kyogre, second most common. White Kyurem, third. That makes sense, actually. You get the Bolt Beam coverage on a couple of powerful attackers. Ice Rider Calyrex shows up as well. Doesn't look like people are running teams like I had in mind, but these are more offensive Elecki. You can see they're not running screens very much. In fact, Rain Dance is the 6th most used move. It's only on 11% of them, but I think that could be cool. I actually also think that like Thunder, Volt Switch, Electro Web, Protect is totally reasonable here. I think we can move off of the screens idea. Focus Sash or Magnet for the item. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's pencil in a Magnet. But if I don't use the Focus Sash on anybody else, I could consider it. Terra Electric. Yeah, that's just going all in on electric type damage. I'm going to say Thunder, because this is a rain team. I'm going to run Tornadus as well, I think. So I can match an opponent's Tailwind. And that gives me another way to set up rain as well. Electro Web. Volt Switch. Protect. I was kind of interested in Rain Dance, but I don't think I need it if I'm running Tornadus. And then this looks a lot like every Kyogre team I make. In fact, I kind of want to change the Ice Rider to a Zacian, but I don't think I should. I think that we should explore the Electric and Ice complementary coverage of Regieleki and Ice Rider Calyrex. Last Pokemon for this team. My instinct is Rapid Strike or Shifu. I really like Rapid Strike or Shifu on these Kyogre teams for the obvious reason. It's super strong, and its Surging Strikes gets even stronger in the rain. Something like Rillaboom could be interesting. Change to rain against Miraidon. I already have ways to outspeed Miraidon, and I have Landorus, so I think Urshifu's okay. I don't think any of these are going to use the Focus Sash, so I definitely can consider giving that to Regieleki. In fact, I think it's probably worth it. And then the key, so I want Regieleki to outspeed anything in the format, right? So I'm going to repurpose this team slot for a second. I believe the fastest relevant threat in the format is Shadow Rider Calyrex. I don't think anyone's... Well, I think it has the same base speed as Electrode anyway. I don't think anyone's using Electrode. So max speed Shadow Rider hits 222. Regieleki is such a ridiculous Pokemon. It's this is all the investment it needs to be faster than that. I could go further and adjust for like Scarf users. Maybe even outspeed some threats in Tailwind. What are people running? Just 252, 252 is all the most common spreads. There are very few that are running 20 speed. They're down here. So maybe there's something I'm not accounting for, right? What does Scarf Miraidon hit? Because I have been seeing some of those. Miraidon max speed is 205, so with a Scarf, then it's about 307. let's just say hypothetically, I think I probably want a Modest Nature on Regieleki, right? But, okay, I'm never hitting that benchmark. Alright, I think 20 EVs is fine. If I find out some reason that it's not, then we can adjust. But then we can just do like that. Yeah. And in that case, I will go with the Magnet, because I'm running more bulk on it than I anticipated I might. Ice Rider Calyrex, Clear Amulet, Glacial Lance, High Horsepower. Maybe it's time for me to learn how to use the Leech Seed set, but I don't think so. Terra type. This team probably Dragon, maybe Water, but I'm a little bit worried about dealing with Miraidon still. Landorus is a pretty good Miraidon answer, but then the rest of the team kind of loses to it, so I think Dragon gives me a better chance of just to give me a better chance of taking a hit from Miraidon. I'll also do Terra Grass Kyogre. I usually run Specs Kyogre these days, and I think that could pair pretty nicely with Regieleki, right? Because Regieleki can click Electro Web, and then Kyogre can still outspeed things that it might not otherwise. I do want to think about trying Hydro Pump. Water Spout, Origin Pulse. Usually I would put Thunder and Ice Beam. I do have those moves, well, those types covered by other Pokemon. If I want to pair it with Regieleki, then maybe I can afford to drop Thunder. I am willing to give that a try. Landorus, Life Orb. I still run Terra Poison. There's definitely a case for a defensive Terra type, like Water or Steel. I just don't immediately see a great need for one right now. Terra Fairy could be kind of cool if this is my Miraidon answer, but I think Poison is fine. Let's make sure I have the right ability. And then Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Sandsear Storm, Protect is just so good. Torn, Covert Cloak, Terra Dark, because there's probably not much of any situation where I Terrastallize it, except to avoid a taunt. Tailwind, Rain Dance, Bleak Wind Storm, Taunt. I feel like there's a case for Hurricane with so much Wide Guard in this format, but Bleak Wind Storm is just kind of too good to pass up. I just deleted it. Oh, okay. Well, there's an undo button. And Rapid Striker Shifu, of course. I like Scarf Rapid Striker Shifu. This team has enough speed control that I could think about Bandit, actually. But I don't know, a lot of opponents love speed control too. Ice Band seems fun though. I feel like Regieleki wants to be spamming Electro Web a lot of the time, so I don't mind making some choices that play toward that. Alright, let's just do it then. Let's just see how Choice Band goes. I can change it to a Scarf if I'm not happy with it. And, I mean, it's pretty much the same moves as the Scarf set, right? Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, U-Turn. Easy. I could do Coaching for the Calyrex, but I don't think I want to. Alright, I'll fill out the rest of the spreads, and we'll get to battling. Alright, and here we are. It's a mostly pretty ordinary Rain team. And the theory behind Regieleki is, of course, twofold. That it should complement the coverage that Pokemon like Calyrex and Landorus bring to the table, but also that by having something so incredibly fast, able to click Electro Web into both opposing Pokemon, it can create openings for Kyogre and Urshifu, and also Landorus to throw off powerful attacks with a little bit more impunity than usually they get to. That's about all there is to say here. Let's go. See what happens. Right off the bat, we get an Ice Rider Miraidon team with Ceruledge. It's a couple times now lately that I've seen a Ceruledge. Wellspring Mask, Ogerpon, Farigiraf, and Smeargle. You know, it could be fun, actually. I don't think I can spare a move slot for it, but if I ran manual electric terrain on Regieleki, I'd be able to stop all these Smeargle that are everywhere from putting my team to sleep. Except, of course, they would still be able to spore Tornadus and Landorus because those are flying types. Anyway, I think that's neither here nor there. My Ice Rider's pretty strong into this team, except the Ceruledge, which probably has a lot to do with what Ceruledge is doing on this team. I could lead Regieleki. I'm down to lead Regieleki Calyrex, I think. I don't know that it's very sound, but I'll give it a go. And I think I'm going to leave the Tailwind behind this time. I don't really need it in this matchup, most likely. It might help to beat Miraidon, but I think I'm just going to bring Kyogre and Landorus in the back and hope I figure this one out. They lead Smeargle and Calyrex. They have a free fake out into something. I'm just going to try to Volt Switch this Smeargle. Thinking about clicking Trick Room to try to reverse their Trick Room. But I don't know if that's what they're going to go for. I might as well try to click a Volt Switch into Smeargle. It would be nice to break its Sash if I can. I don't know where the fake out is going, if I'm right and there is one. There might not be. A lot of them lately are clicking Spore turn 1, or even Follow Me. Although I don't think their Calyrex is threatened enough here for them to click Follow Me. They do let me get the Volt Switch, break the Smeargle Sash. I might have been better off. I think it's fine. I was going to say I might have been better off clicking Glacial Lance, but oh, okay. They could just decorate immediately. They had that option too. That's pretty dangerous for me. They get a speed boost with the Moody. Every time, all of these Smeargle are getting speed boosts right away with Moody. I mean, look, sometimes I get that kind of luck when I use Smeargle. I've been on both sides of this interaction, but I felt pretty safe to just click an Origin Pulse, and now I don't. Actually, I think I have to Terra Grass so that it can't Spore Kyogre. I mean, Kyogre is in Glacial Lance range anyway, so I'm actually okay with that. It's just not an amazing use of my Terra. But yeah, we're going to try that. They Terra Water their Calyrex, so they'll take the Origin Pulse a lot better now. Still does a lot of damage, but they're still just attacking though, so I can get Regieleki back in and I can threaten their Calyrex. But yeah, throwing away my Kyogre and my Terra like that doesn't feel amazing. And I wouldn't have had to use the Terra if the Smeargle had just not gotten a speed boost. But it happens, it's part of the game. It just feels like it's been happening a lot lately. I feel pretty good here. They could like Protect and Draco Meteor, and then I shouldn't feel good about anything ever. But I'm gonna try a Thunder into Calyrex and a switch out to Landorus in case they try to pick off my Calyrex. They Protect. Did they knock out Regieleki here? No, they went Electro Drift into Landorus. That is just fine. A couple more turns of rain left. I'm gonna go Thunder and Sandsear Storm. Even if they switch Calyrex out, there's not much that's going to want to take this combination of attacks. They do let it go down. They Electro Drift Regieleki, knock it clean out. There was a little bit... We are in this game seeing a little bit of the risk that comes with not running a Focus Sash on the Eleki. And I can make that change in a little bit if I want, but it still worked out this time. But if they just click that Electro Drift into Eleki a turn earlier instead of trying to snipe my Calyrex... I mean, I can understand why they'd want to try to snipe my Calyrex, though. In any case, we never find out what their last Pokemon is. As this one works out pretty nicely. I never got to click the Electro Web, or I never was in a position where it was a good idea, but this team's still powerful. So things worked out there. If we see any more Smeargle, they'll probably boost their speed too, though. It seems to be what they do. Chi-Yu, Fluttermane, Groudon, Miraidon, Iron Hands, Iron Bundle. Interesting team. I didn't account for Booster Energy Iron Bundle when I was training my Regieleki. I do see those occasionally, not super often. But I have Tailwind and they don't, so the speed advantage is still there if I want it. The trickier thing is Regieleki is bad into a lot of these Pokemon. It's good into some of them, though. I think I'm down to try Torn Ogre lead with Landorus and Electron in the back. I can try to press a speed advantage right away. Specs Kyogre into these two, not great. I'm gonna make a little bit of a... I could just Terra, actually. I think Terra Kyogre is fine. I don't have to make a little bit of a risky switch into Landorus. Maybe I should anyway, though, because... there's also the Weather War to worry about. Alright, I'll go Landorus and Tailwind. They might take the KO on Tornadus. And if they do, that means that I don't have the manual Rain Dance anymore. I only have Drizzle to get weather control. They tried to Volt Switch Kyogre, though, so now I have Tailwind up and I have a pretty free Sandsear Storm. And I can switch to Kyogre or Electron, or I can just let Tornadus potentially go down here. I think it's better to preserve Tornadus. So I'll go Electron. We get 2 KOs with the Sandsear Storm. That I think that crit probably mattered on the Iron Hands. But I guess we'll take it. They get Sun, so I can't just Sandsear Storm right now. What I can do is... well, I can, but it's risky. Earth Power Chi-Yu and Protect. Chi-Yu goes Terra Ghost. The thing is, Regieleki is kind of useless into Groudon, but... the other thing is... I should be able to just win with Kyogre now, right? I have weather control. I'll just lock into Origin Pulse and try to pick off the Chi-Yu with Thunder. No need to Electro Web because it does nothing to Groudon anyway, and I guess I could have clicked Water Spout there, but and been guaranteed to hit, but the Origin Pulse connects anyway, and so Groudon drops. Regieleki didn't contribute a ton to that game, but it participated. Lunala, Miraidon, Iron Hands, Hearthflame Mask, Ogerpon, Farigiraf, and Incineroar. Once again, I see a lot of ground weaknesses. Well, half their team is weak to ground. Ogerpon isn't unless it terrestrializes, but you get what I'm saying. Could I beat Lunala? Kind of want to lead Tornadus or Shifu here, but that's really good into some of their stuff and really bad into there's some other of stuff. I don't think it really pays off in the end. Let's do Tornadus Landorus. That way I can protect in front of Iron Hands. I don't have to make a risky switch. Bring Kyogre. I'll bring Regieleki. Leaving Calyrex behind again, but I don't know if this is an amazing Calyrex matchup. There's some upside to it for sure, but they have a number of answers. Alright, let's start blasting. What attack to click into Ogerpon is a tricky question, because a lot comes down to whether it terrestrializes. I actually could set Trick Room here. Maybe I shouldn't have Tailwinded. Calm Mind, okay. They also let me have their Ogerpon. I think a lot of opponents would have played that differently, but so far so good, except Lunala is setting up and I only brought special attackers. That part's not good. Okay, Iron Hands is here. I'll cover for a Fake Out and I'll taunt Lunala. If they have Trick Room, which they might not. Still a shot at denying that. Also means they can't Wide Guard. They have started to attack now. They also knock out Torn. But yeah, I can go Kyogre here. Sans. Honestly, yeah, Sandsphere Storm and Water Spout get damage on both their Pokemon. Landorus can break Shadow Shield before the Water Spout comes out, so that part's good. Knockout Iron Hands, not quite Lunala. But they take the Moving Beam into Landorus, so I still have a full power Water Spout available. It's the last turn of Tailwind, they can protect, but maybe they can't because Miraidon often don't run it and Lunala is taunted. I feel pretty good here to just Electro Web. I'll Terra Grass just to be safe and Water Spout. And with the Electro Web, even when my Tailwind wears off after this, and the fact that Regieleki is just so massively fast, I still have a measure of speed control after the Tailwind. Miraidon's almost clean knocked out there. And I actually think I can just Thunder it and Water Spout. Regieleki picks up the KO. How often do you see a Regieleki knock out a Miraidon without even terastallizing into some other type? We definitely take those. Good start here. This video might go off the rails at some point, but going really well so far. Okay. Whoa, they have a Hisuian Avalugg. That probably gets Wide Guard. I'm sure that gets Wide Guard. I don't really know what else it does here, though. But I know it does that one thing. Shadow Rider, Kyogre, Tornadus, Raichu, Smeargle, Hisuian Avalugg. This could be a game where Regieleki speed control is useful, but I have to be alert to the Raichu, because I only have electric type attacks on Regieleki. That is proving to be kind of a limitation to this Pokemon, even though it hasn't really slowed me down much so far. Raichu will redirect electric type attacks and power up with Lightning Rod. It will not redirect Electro Web, so Electro Web will still go into its partner, but it won't slow Raichu and it will boost Raichu, so even then it has to be clicked sparingly. That said, I think... No, see, I was going to say I think I'm down to click to lead Elecki and try to Thunder their Tornadus or something, but I'm actually not because... I'm going to do Tornogre, Lando. Because the Raichu is, even if they don't lead with it, is a threat to switch in. I'm going to bring Elecki anyway, but there's some risk there. They do lead Raichu, but it's with the Shadow Rider, not the anything else. Terra Grass. I'll click Water Spout. I think most likely they fake out Kyogre and I don't get this attack off, but if they fake out Kyogre and I don't get to execute the attack, that means I can switch moves next turn. So even if I take a lot of damage, I can Origin Pulse. Have not found the Hydro Pump very valuable so far, but I'm sure it is amazing in the situations where you need it. Okay, they do flinch the Kyogre. It's a crit. But so be it. I can Origin Pulse now in Bleak Wind. And as long as the Origin Pulse connects, I can knock out Calyrex through a Focus Sash if they leave it in. Nope, they go Kyogre. That still takes a lot of damage, though. And the Bleak Wind picks up Raichu. Still no sign of their Tornadus, but the Wide Guard is on the board now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click Origin Pulse. I don't think there's anyone I want to switch in here. In fact, now that Raichu's gone, Regieleki might be able to win the game. I'm going to taunt the Avalugg so it can only Wide Guard once. They might knock out my Kyogre here. If not, the Origin Pulse is immediately still a threat again. They do. Okay. I mean, I'm not shocked. They don't knock out Tornadus, though, so I can Bleak Wind. And I can go Landorus. I can Earth Power Avalugg. Bleak Wind Storm. I guess Sandsphere Storm was also an option. Knock Avalugg down to Sturdy, so Bleak Wind will knock it out now. Tornadus has survived to the end of the Tailwind. That means I can immediately set the Tailwind right back up in front of their Shadow Rider Calyrex. And even if it gets a KO or two here, I should lose to Elecki after that. I'll just Earth Power Tailwind. Oh, it's Terra Grass. Okay. That's not super unusual, but I haven't seen one in a while. I actually might lose to that. Nope. Okay, good. Doesn't knock out Landorus. so I can Sludge Bomb it now. Just Electro Web. Leki's move doesn't matter too much there. That's decent chip. But yeah, Sludge Bomb closes this out. Landorus and Landorus has been really good on this team with Electron and Kyogre. I'm enjoying that a lot. The Ice Rider I haven't done very much with, but is this a repeat opponent? Team is familiar. Haven't done much with the Ice Rider, but there's a lot of good coverage on this team all the same. What did I do last time I played this opponent? That was only a couple games ago, and I've already forgotten. I think I led Torn Ogre, right? But then I ended up switching the Kyogre out for Weather Control, and I had Landorus and Electron in the back. Let's do Landorus Tornadus this time, Kyogre Electron. I'm assuming this is the same player again, because the team preview is identical. But I don't always pay close attention to their usernames. This one leads the Iron Bundle this time, which does kind of have the feel of an adjustment after last game. I'll take my Tailwind. I'm sure they'll knock out Tornadus. Why am I protecting? Because I'm afraid of the bundle? I think that's valid. Because I think I can knock out Tornadus and I can get somebody else in and I can overwhelm the bundle, maybe. Fairy immediately on the Miraidon. Icy Wind. So that's part of their speed control. They will knock out Tornadus. Better make the most of these Tailwind turns. I'm going to go Regieleki. Sludge Bomb Miraidon. Volt Switch Bundle. Bundle Protect. Fair enough. Sludge Bomb misses the KO. Should have terrestrialized, I guess. Live and Learn. I'm down to my last two Pokemon. Also, they have Weather Control completely sewn up. Alsansphere and Origin Pulse. Bundle goes first. Knocks out Landorus. I never did use my Terra this game, did I? But I'm not going to now. If I had just Terra Poisoned, then it's completely different. So that's good to know. If I get a position like that again. Not clicking the Terra Poison against Miraidon. Sorry, 1 second. I have a message to answer. Okay, let's get another game. Ice Rider, Grimmsnarl, Miraidon, Incineroar, Urshifu, Landorus. I might pause the recording after this one because I have friends making plans. I'm getting distracted by it. I have a friend who moved away but comes back every so often and doesn't usually tell us until he's in the air. Anyway. Yeah, how do I play this? Does anyone know how to play this game? It's called Pokemon. It's really difficult sometimes. Anybody have any advice on this game? I'm actually down to try Calyrex Tornadus. That's a lead I haven't tried before. Could be very strong. Actually, it kind of loses to Miraidon. Let's do Calyrex. If I'm leading Calyrex, I probably want to have a threat into their Calyrex. I could do Calyrex Electron. That actually makes more sense than you might think, because a lot of Ice Rider are running Terra Water right now. I'm down to try it. I'll bring Kyogre and Landorus in the back. I'm actually not bringing my Tailwind. See how that goes for me. Grimmsnarl could have Fake Out. Feels like a lot of them don't these days. A lot of them have Thunder Wave though, so I'm not eager to bring Kyogre in on this. I could just click a Thunder outside of Rain and hope it works. It does. Not amazing damage through the light screen, but we do paralyze them. And then obviously that is kind of lucky, but Thunder does have, I think, a 30% chance to paralyze, so it's definitely a cut above moves like Thunderbolt. Is that right? I'll check in a second. Guess I'll go Kyogre here. I want to get rid of that Leech Seed. Yeah, 30. Volt Switch. Probably bring my Calyrex right back in. They've got both screens up now. What does their Calyrex go for? Seed. To my Calyrex. There's just no getting away from it, apparently. Alright, if they have Thunder Wave, so be it. Okay. Clutch full para. Grimmsnarl's out of here. Miraidon is unfortunately still very much in here. I'm going to pivot to Landorus, and I'm going to Electroweb. Should get Calyrex if they leave it vulnerable. Landorus can stop an electric attack from Miraidon. Okay, they go into Regieleki, but it doesn't KO. Landorus Kyogre pairing really nicely this video because of that immunity. They can Aqua Jet Eleki here, but if they do that, then they're not Aqua Jetting. They can just like Draco Meteor Landorus as well, right? But if they do that, then they're weakening themselves against my Pokemon in the back. So I think I can just Earth Power Miraidon, and I'll click Electroweb. They probably won't let me get the attack off, but I'll try. Maybe I should have read that Terra Fairy and clicked Sludge Bomb. Doesn't matter, Landorus doesn't get any damage. And actually, yeah, this is how they get rid of those two Pokemon without weakening themselves. If I just Terra Poisoned, then I could have taken the Dazzling Gleam. That's 2 games now where I should have Terra Poisoned and I didn't. At least I think I should have. Maybe I would rather have the Terra Grass. But Miraidon are so often choiced. I'm going to click Trick Room. I don't know if they'll let me get away with it, but it's nice if they do. This is just one of those moments where it's a nice little advantage if I do get the Trick Room set up, and it looks like I will as Calyrex just holds on. Actually, it's not that advantageous, though, because now it's in Aqua Jet range. So should have just clicked Glacial Lance. Not playing this super optimally. Kyogre misses the Miraidon with the Origin Pulse, and we see here that it drops to a Dazzling Gleam. So I made a couple of mistakes late in that battle. My opponent capitalized nicely on them. But that's how it goes sometimes. I think that I can keep going. The messages seem to have died down a bit, so I'll just put my phone away until I'm done with this session, but no need to pause the recording. Alright, Kyogre, Zamazenta, Chanpao, Raging Bolt, Amoonguss, and Roaring Moon. I'm still a little distracted, but I think we can manage. Okay, let's do. It's probably Roaring Moon Tailwind stuff. I think it's time I get Urshifu into a game. These Terraflying Roaring Moon. I'll bring Eleki. I'll bring Kyogre. That means I'm not bringing Landorus into Raging Bolt. When Landorus, Eleki, Kyogre, Tornadus usually has been so very clutch so very many times in this video, but we'll deal. I'm actually just going to Rain Dance, Terra Water, Surging Strike, try to get damage immediately into the Zamazenta. They switch the Roaring Moon out. It's Terra Grass Zamazenta. It is nice that I didn't take the bait to attack the Roaring Moon, but this is going to do... it does some damage. But yeah, now Raging Bolt is immediately a menace. I don't really have anything good for it. I just get Thunderclapped into Oblivion, actually. That was a really reckless use of my Terra. Alright, I didn't play this one right. We'll play it out, though. Yeah. Urshifu drops. Honestly, Urshifu has not felt very good on this team. I think it's close to the right idea. Like, I don't have much physical offense without it. But... just covering for Wide Guard there. But there's not really been a matchup where it's felt like one of the best Pokemon to have, and here I gave it a go anyway, and... I mean, I played it recklessly. It might be the best choice, but I do definitely wonder whether there's something better. Like maybe a Rillaboom could be good on this team. I think that would make decent sense. I also think Zacian probably would have been fine for the other restricted Pokemon. I don't know that the ice coverage from Glacial Lance has really added all that much. Why am I clicking Hydro Pump instead of Ice Beam? Speaking of ice coverage. There's their Kyogre. I should just knock out the Raging Bolt immediately, the Pokemon that I thought I might just lose to from here. That's a surprise. I wonder why they didn't Thunderclap anything. If they were leaving it in anyway. I'll go for the Ice Beam into Roaring Moon now. Bleak Wind. Yeah, okay, now they can't get Tailwind. Crit the Kyogre. I've had some good luck in some of these games, which maybe influences my perception of the team a little bit, but we take it. That means we keep going. Miraidon, Iron Jugulus. Whoa, Lunala. No, I'm not reacting that strongly to Lunala. Lunala is pretty standard, but Iron Crown is a Pokemon I don't see too often right now. That's a cool one. No Psychic terrain on this team, probably, but they do have Electric terrain to at least give it the Quark Drive boost. And then they have Ursaluna and Pelipper. It's pretty scary, actually. Regieleki is good for their possible Tailwind setters. Does that necessarily mean I need to lead with it? No. Landorus is good into a lot of this team. Snarl, Jugulus is a problem. Pelipper is a little bit of a problem. A little bit less, but it is a problem. I think I'm down to try... What they don't have is... It doesn't matter if it's Speed Boost or Iron Jugulus, which it surely is. What they don't have is Priority Tailwind. I might be able to get the jump on them with an Elecki lead, but I'm not confident in that. I'm going to try Elecki Kyogre. And I can Terra Grass if I need to and just start attacking. I'll bring Tornadus, and I'm going to put my trust in Landorus like I've been doing through much of this video. Jugulus and Miraidon. Okay. Alright. That's not too bad a lead from me. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm just going to attack. They'll probably get Tailwind, so this Electro Web might be too little too late, and they can just knock out the Elecki if they want, but I'm not sure that's where they want to commit their resources. They actually Draco Meteor the Kyogre. Doesn't KO. That means Elecki gets through this turn with no damage. We knock out Jugulus, we get some chip into Miraidon. The speed drop is not necessarily amazing when it'll probably switch out anyway, and also they have Tailwind up. I'm down to Thunder Lunala here. And switch to Landorus. I think they might... Kyogre is probably locked into Draco Meteor. I actually should think I could have gone Tornadus there. Lunala outspeeds Elecki and Tailwind because I don't have my own Tailwind up. I will have my own Tailwind up now. But I might have wanted to look for a way to lead Tornadus this matchup. Yeah, I knew Miraidon wasn't staying in. I didn't want to risk a useless Earth Power into that slot, so I've broken the Shadow Shield instead. They have Trick Room. They just pivot seamlessly to taking advantage of being slower, which is smart by them, but unfortunate for me because it probably wins them the game. I don't think I have a way through this. I don't think it's worth clicking Protect. They actually take the KO on Tornadus. I went Sludge Bomb into Pelipper because I don't have anything else good for that. But of course it doesn't mean Lunala just keeps sitting there. Pelipper could have Wide Guard, but I think they're better off just attacking anyway. They actually don't just attack. And I only click spread moves. Kyogre's locked into a spread move, so that's GG. Alright. Well, they turned that one around on me pretty efficiently. And I guess that's a real plus to running Lunala and Tailwind. Tornadus obviously telegraphs that I want to click Tailwind. I could have, you know, thought a little differently about it and taunted the Lunala maybe, but I felt like I was under a lot of pressure, and my opponent knew that. They put that pressure on me and then baited me into a play that they could take advantage of. That was really well done by them. GG. They said it in chat, so I did too. I'm going to do the send-off. Even though Regieleki has actually done a lot in this video, I'm going to get one more game. And no matter what, I'm leading Regieleki and one of my choice attackers. And I want to do what I haven't really been able to do. And just Electro Web and attack. This person also has a Pelipper. So I can still click Hydro Pump if it comes to it. I was thinking Urshifu, but Kyogre's still better, I think. Bigger problem is the fake out pressure from the Incineroar. I'm bringing Urshifu, though. I am bringing it to the game. They might have Tailwind on the Pelipper, but Pelipper is not in an easy spot in this matchup. Alright, let's just Electro Web and Water Spout. Let's see what happens. It's Scarf Miraidon. Okay, that doesn't work out too well. We know that it's Scarf Miraidon because even though this Regieleki is very little speed investment, it outspeeds every restricted Pokemon without some kind of boost. I should have gone Landorus here so I could protect. Actually, I think it's okay. Put a lot of damage into their Urshifu here. Actually, just knock it out with the Electro Web. Let's go Transistor and Magnet. Problem is, they've reset the drop on Miraidon, so now it's always faster than Urshifu. The good news is, Landorus in the back might be able to save this game. Yeah, they lock into Electro Drift, so Landorus should just win now. Alright, still didn't quite work out the way I wanted. Regieleki just clicking a bunch of Electro Webs while its partner knocks things out doesn't work quite like it did in Generation 8, which is maybe... Do I actually lose this one? Yeah, I do. Whoops. Alright, well they got me with the Incineroar. Maybe another cost of Dynamax no longer being in the game. Right? Because in Gen 8 you could Dynamax the partner and do massive damage while Regieleki was giving you some speed control with the Electro Web. I remember my favorite team I had where I did that, it was Specs Regieleki, so it was doing some pretty respectable damage in its own right. And that was before the Transistor nerf. Although even in this video, Transistor Electro Web was doing not terrible damage. But I also was running modest Regieleki because I ran very little speed investment, just enough to naturally outspeed Shadow Rider Calyrex, and I do think that was a mistake. I think that there were a number of times, maybe I couldn't have ever outsped Scarf Miraidon, but there were a number of times that my opponents got the jump on me with other speed boosting techs that maybe I could have looked into if I were trying to properly build this out for a tournament and not just speed building a team for this series. In any case, Regieleki still had some good moments here. It's still definitely a usable Pokemon. It's not nearly the worst legendary that I've tried out in the series. I mean, I guess that's Cosmog, but even excluding Cosmog and Cubfu, I'd say Regieleki is not nearly the worst so far. And it definitely can have a place on this kind of team, at least for some ladder fun. So I enjoyed that one. I like a powerful offensive team like that, and we'll just have to find out next time what the wheel brings us for. Next time is part 30 of this series. I'm really zooming through these, but that's kind of how it goes. Anyway, see you next time.